Good morning. I am Victoria Lee from Marshall Music, and today we have a very special guest in studio with us, Jay something from Mi Casa. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
making
Vic.
time.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here.
It's an honor, really. I
Oh,
think this is the first interview I'm truly nervous for.
no need. No need.
So obviously I had to do a little bit of research, and it was quite interesting to discover that you immigrated from Portugal to Port Alfred at the age of 7. How did that shape you creatively, moving from a foreign country? Did you feel like you didn't fit in?
I think everything shapes you, whether we like it or not. I think we get molded to our environment and to who we are around. So obviously it was a massive shift for me. I was 7, so I think I was still very young and innocent. And so I was able to absorb, with the innocence of a child, which is beautiful. So
Yes.
I think that like getting dropped into that environment, into a different environment, only came when I look back and I reflected, only came with positives. It was culturally, it was very different to where I came from. But I think difference is what is needed to your question. Did it help creatively? I think that the more variety we get exposed to, the more creative I believe we are able to be. And I think that change in my life was very beneficial. I always look at my life and there's not a thing I would want to change,
Yes.
So I'm happy. It was great. I learned a lot of different languages. I learned a lot about our differences, which helped me also to find the beauty in our commonalities as well.
Yes, for sure. I can understand that.
Yeah.
So a coastal guy, and then the move out
Yeah.
to Johannesburg?
Yes, I was a coastal baby in Portugal, in the south of Portugal, in Portimão. I was born, and then obviously Port Alfred, also near the beach. I was never much of a beach guy, though.
Really?
Yeah, I was always more like into sports. There was a lot of like surfer dudes and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
I never quite fit into that crowd. And then, fast forward a whole bunch of stuff. But then I came to Joburg actually looking for a job. I just finished a marketing degree and moved to the big city. Never been here before. Was living on my cousin's couch.
Yeah.
The typical story. And
were you also like a little bit almost like shell shocked? Because when I moved from the coast, I also come from the coast.
Okay.
Johannesburg, it's a huge adjustment.
Okay, yeah, it was big. It was daunting, but also I was 21, so I think I was hungry for big. I was hungry for something, out of my norm, so it was something that I embraced with both hands. And I was very grateful to be surrounded by an incredible person. His name is Sergio, and he's still in my life till today. We still do. I started my career with him, and I'm still doing everything that I do with him.
That's
and he handles my whole business. And was it a shock? Yes, it was a beautiful shock. It was like, again, when I think about it now, as you've posed it, it was like the getting put into different places.
Yes.
Allows the creative in me to flourish. So it was massive. Joburg for me it was the reason why I wrote These Streets. It was where it all began. It was just the sense of like this energy that oozes from this city.
It really does, yeah.
It's unlike anything else.
I agree with that. There's a beautiful story about, as I understand, single mom. Your mom worked in a diner. Please tell me about that experience. It's because it kind of most probably shaped you wanting to go into the food industry as well.
Yeah, I grew up with both parents being in the food and beverage industry. My dad was a food and beverage manager for different hotel groups around the world. And it's how we actually landed up in South Africa, was through Sun International that he was working for at the time in the Eastern Cape. My mom then at that time worked at the Fish River Diner, which was a diner on the bridge where all the fishermen would kind of stop to have a graze those moments that I remember. I think that, yes, obviously it impacted me. I was brought up around food. I'm Portuguese, so like the food and the dinner table, and that has always been something very close to my mom's heart. And I think that from a more business point of view, it was something that I grew up in the sense that like I was always eating at the hotel or at the restaurant. I know it sounds glamorous, but it actually,
No, I understand.
work.
Yeah.
but it shaped me when I look back on it now, today, you know, and the journey that I've had with food. No doubt, my mom's passion for service, serving people, for cooking, my dad's passion for attention to detail, and the impact that food has and can have with people definitely has stuck with me till today.
I think it's quite cool how you found yourself in two different industries, but it's about bringing people together around the table.
Yeah, I still like, you know, titles, and not to like get too deep, but like I think that like our sense of identity gets too boxed in. You know, I don't even think I'm in two industries. I just think I'm in one world. You know, I'm in one life, and I get to do what I get to do with my time, and gratefully I get to do music and food. And I'd like to answer the question more directly. These two industries are a lot of fun, because what I love about them is that they bring people together. There's nothing that brings people together like a concert or like a feast around a table. It's a
100%.
And also people are able to, I don't know, just let loose and feel happy and connect with themselves and connect with the world.
Tell me about the name J something. How did that come about? And does it still resonate? Does it speak who you are as a person today still?
Yeah, who I am is beyond any of that stuff. I'm very passionate about my identity. I don't identify with much. I like to walk freely. So my name, given to me by my mom and my dad, João Carlos is actually my name, which was the name of my great grandfather. Random thing to share with you, but and then growing up, moving to South Africa, João is actually John in Portuguese.
I didn't know that.
So it's a very common name in Portugal. It's probably like one of the most common names you can get. And then arriving here, not many people could pronounce my name. And then I was just like, you know what, I needed. And then I wanted to start like as an artist, and I wanted to make music. And then I was thinking, what should I call myself? I can't like have a name where nobody knows to say like, yeah, did you hear that guy's song? You know?
Yeah.
I thought João, and then I thought Jay, whatever. It does kind of resonate with me now more than ever, because this isn't about me. You know, it's
like that.
It's like, as long as you can get, if you can get to me, but hopefully you can get to yourself through me. I think that that's the real objective. So like almost not having a name, like, although there's the name Jay something, it was this like, it's really not about me. It's at the end of the day, it's about making music that can help people connect with themselves.
I believe that too.
Music's very powerful.
It truly is. Yeah, it really is. And speaking of connection, I understand that Mi Casa was founded in like a night lounge. Was it in 2017? 3 guys hanging out, performing together. How did you decide in that moment, like, this is going to work, we're going to stick with this? Is that where the band was actually formed?
Yeah, so I arrived in Joburg 2010, December, just when the World Cup was going on. And my cousin Sergio was actually having his engagement party at the Radisson Hotel opposite the Gautrain. And I tagged along, and there was a DJ playing, and I went up to the DJ for some odd reason, which was so out of character. I would never do that today, never mind back then. And I went up to the DJ and I asked him if I could sing over the beats that he was playing. He was playing like house music.
That's pretty cool.
I know. And for some odd reason, he said yes. And when I think back to it now, I'm just like, that was so random.
Or alignment.
I own a restaurant now. Yeah, or alignment, you know. I own a restaurant now. And if anybody ever came up to the DJ and said, can I sing? I'd be like, dude, this is not karaoke.
Yeah.
But for some odd reason, he said yes. And then I started singing over the beats, and then another guy arrived with the bag. He put the bag on the floor. I'll never forget this because it was obviously so impactful. And he took out a trumpet and he asked if he could borrow the mic from me. And I said, sure. And I would sing a little bit, and then I would hold the mic for him, and he would play into the mic, and then I'd go back to sing again. And, you know, and the DJ was Dr. Duda, and the trumpeter was Moti. And at that moment, because there was no stage or anything, it was just a DJ booth. It was a pool party. Oaks were chilling. It was not like it wasn't like a club or anything.
That changed your life.
Yeah, it was chill. It was a party called La Dolce Vita.
Okay.
It was really like sunset vibe. Oaks were chilling. And then next thing we knew, we had the whole crowd all around us. And after that, people started asking us for pictures, and autographs and
That's insane.
The band. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know these guys.
Did you come up with Mi Casa like on the spot? Like,
no, I met them afterwards. We kind of introduced ourselves, and then we were taking pictures with people. And Duda already had like a career. He was already an established producer, DJ. You know, he's been in the game for a very long time, and he was producing for the likes of DJ Fresh, DJ Mbuso, produced hits with RJ Benjamin. Like he's a G. And so at that time, after that moment, like we kind of asked him if we could record a song, because we were like, did you see what happened? That was a vibe. And he kind of kept putting it off. And then after 3 months, I think, of me begging him, he eventually let us into the studio. And it was like the size of this room. And he allowed us to record one song, and we wrote These Streets. And
that's amazing.
Literally, like from there, we resonated so much with what we were doing. We just carried on recording. And then These Streets became Record of the Year that year.
Well, there we go. Now you're a household name.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. And it's 15 years of Mi Casa this year in June. So I'm like talking about that day, standing here or sitting here with you today. I'm still like, wow. And it's also crazy. Sorry, I know I'm maybe segueing here a little bit, but it's also crazy being here, because when I arrived in Joburg, I came and bought, when I started making a bit of money with Mi Casa, I came and bought my first tailor here in this studio.
I was actually going to ask you about that. There's a story where I think, did your guitar break or something?
Oh yeah, that was recently. That was recently.
The guitar like straight off the cuff.
I was recently doing a show, and we were doing sound check, and it was like, I think it was like a Saturday evening, and my guitar, the pickup was actually bust, and I didn't know what to do, so I hit Dane. And then Dane put me onto Liam, and they actually left the rugby match
that
they were watching, the box, and then they came and opened up the store for me, and they gave me a guitar. And I, like, you know, it's moments like that where I don't have words, you know, you don't understand like how people can do that for you, you know. And I've always been very drawn to Marshall. You know, I know maybe it sounds like a bit of an endorsement, but I don't endorse the brand at all. But I mean, like, just this place is where I love coming, because not only because of that moment, but also because of the very first tailor I bought when I started to feel like I had a little bit of money. I came and bought my first Strat here as well. So it's just like, it's a very special place to be at. But yeah, 15 years ago, These Streets, and then here we are. Again
today. Are you doing anything special for like your 15-year anniversary?
Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll be doing some of the big arenas in South Africa, and we'll be doing a whole bunch of shows throughout Africa as well. We'll be doing a new album. We'll be doing a special limited edition box set. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
I was going to ask you about that as well, about upcoming albums and but also very much the three people that form Mi Casa. You are very different. How do you blend all of this together, and who pushes who to do better?
I think one of the key takeouts from our discussion so far that I've had is different, the word different, and how impactful difference is.
Yes.
You know, I think that sometimes we obsess over our differences. And I think that sometimes it's in our differences that we can actually find our commonalities. And I think it's such a powerful thing, especially as South Africans, but I think, like, you know, when you look at the world today, I think it's so important for us to understand that it's in our differences that we can find the unique connection points. So when I think now to your question, it's the differences that we have. Matter of fact, the funny thing is that when we were actually starting the band and trying to come up with a name, The Difference was one of the names that we actually came up with, which it didn't stick, thank God. But
so how did Mi Casa?
Yeah, it was actually on a random night at about 3:00 in the morning at the fireplace, sitting with Moti and a dodgy bottle of gin or something, and we were just dreaming. And I said to him, bro, I think I got the name. You know, and we were making house music. This was our house. Mi Casa means my house. And also the term Mi Casa es su casa. It's my house is your house. It's also that thing of understanding, like, this isn't about us. This is about us collectively. And when I look back at the profoundness of that and how the name has built this incredible community of different pockets around the world of people that love just coming together and connecting over those songs.
Yes.
It really feels like a house that is your house.
That's really cool.
But Mo, Duda, myself, we are all different. You know, just like you cannot cook a meal with the same ingredient. Otherwise, it's a very bland meal.
Yes.
You need to have the different flavor points to create this explosion of flavor. So I think it's similar in that way. We're so different, and that's what makes it magical.
At one point, you almost disbanded. What is the thing that almost disbanded you, but also brought you back together? There must have been something specific that held it together.
You know, when I started Mi Casa, one of the very first things I ever heard is that every band breaks up. You know, and I think it's common. Like, you can look at the music landscape. We see bands, most bands, break up, or so I kind of had, and still do to an extent, carry that with me of like, the band will break up. But, and I think in that time, I think it was like 7 or 8 years into the journey, I think, and it was nothing dramatic. It was just, maybe it's just time to try something else, you know? But it always goes back to this sense of purpose. Like, we've always held on to this idea and belief, really, that we have a role to play in society, not only as musicians, but I think specifically as Mi Casa. And I think that goes back to our differences and how it's showcased and how it's portrayed, and not only how it's portrayed, but what it actually really is. You know, we 3 gentlemen that like really just love each other, love what we do, respect each other, and want to spread love and light. Like, that's all we want to do. And I think that in itself is what helps in tough moments.
Yes.
Is that fundamental belief of, you know, I call it a strong why. You know, you got to have a strong why in anything that you do. Otherwise it will be empty. And I think purpose is where you find the soul.
Is that your why? I was going to ask you, what is your why?
Well, my why, is maybe it's connected to it. You know, I have a very specific why that I can always tell you if you wanted to know.
I do want to know.
I want to be, my why, you know, what I hope to do with my time is to be a great father, a great husband, a great son, a great friend. And I hope to create things that bring love and light into the world. And I hope to do that all just one day at a time. That is what I hope for in my life. And I'm very passionate about using my time well and enjoying it and learning from it. So it's tied to the why of Mi Casa. You know, it's this idea that we are here to experience, we're here to express, and we're here to hopefully express and experience in a way that makes those around us feel like they can find more of themselves, and that they can discover more of themselves, and that they can also, you know, the train, how do you say, the chain reaction.
There were so many accolades when I think of Mi Casa, from your first album that was self-titled to your recent album 3. Is there a track that you felt should have had more of a spotlight on it? Is there something that you wish had done better that we might have missed?
You know, I don't really know who's watching this, you know, so, and I know that a lot of people that maybe tune into Marshall Music's content maybe are aspiring musicians, people that actually want to make a career out of music. And the word that you mentioned there is it's a conflicting word, because I never created for the spotlight.
Yes.
I always created because I have felt like I had something in me that needed to be out. It's when you believe that what you have within is needed outside.
Yes.
You know, life starts inside, and it's an inside out life.
You're a deeply spiritual person, aren't you?
Yes, I do. I do regard myself. I definitely don't regard myself a physical person. I know that I have a body and a mind, but I'm not my body and my mind. But
I agree.
So this idea of like, there's a song that maybe didn't get the spotlight. It's not something that I necessarily resonate with. There's a lot of songs I love that we didn't release as singles.
Would you maybe in the future?
No, yeah, I've often, it's weird because, music, you feel like you got to keep going and keep creating more and more and more. And you never tend to go back and re-release or reinterpret. But I think they're there, and I think that that's the beauty of music, is that it will last beyond me.
It really will.
And
your kids will listen to this. And
there's a whole bunch of songs that I love. There's this one song that just to mention one that probably not a lot of people know, but it's on the first album. It's called Across the Room.
Across the Room.
Yes. And it was a song that I actually wrote about this girl that I saw across the room at one show. She's not my wife.
Yeah. How amazing. Yeah. And you knew?
I just knew, man. I just knew. Actually, yesterday I just wrote a song about how it was her eyes that made me realize that it was my time to be by her side.
Oh, that's amazing. How amazing is that?
So yeah, that's one song. I could go on a lot about the song.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one for sure.
Yeah, that's nice. We were young.
So now you did mention 15 years and an upcoming album. When can we expect that? Do you have ideas of the release of that, or are you still working towards that?
Yeah, I actually have no clue, like specific dates. But June 2026 is
big,
when the 15-year mark starts.
Yes.
So we will be releasing from that day on until June 2027. So for a year, we are celebrating through different forms, and there'll be music, there'll be shows, there'll be memorabilia. There'll be different experiences. We really want to connect with people, with our people.
Yes.
We really want to, this is a year of connection for us. We want to, because it's only because of people that you reach a milestone like this, where it's no difference to me being married to my wife for 10 years or 15 years and celebrating and inviting our friends over. It's exactly the same. It's just there's a couple more people then.
You seem to be able to really connect with people through your music. Do you think it's because you are not stuck in one genre? It's like you have branched into various different genres. So I think you have that ability to connect with a larger crowd.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit deeper than genre. I think it's not connecting too firmly with my ego. That allows...
You don't come across as a person with ego.
Yes. I think ego is the barrier to connection.
Yes.
So when I think to it, I always wanted to, and I still do, I wanted to be the most non-celebrity, non-thing, I don't know, whatever. Like, I don't even like those names, but I wanted to be for myself, but for people as well, And so connection is deeply rooted in me as my desire. I desire to connect with people. So if anybody asks me for a photo or they have a story to share, I'm just like, I want to connect with that, because that's a fruit of the seed, which is the song, And so I think that the fusion of, and I think specifically in South Africa, it's been, the fusion of culture, potentially of what people call race, and then genre. Like, we didn't intentionally do it, like I didn't say Sanbonani on these streets because I wanted to appeal to, a darker skinned person.
But it's something you understood. Yeah.
Yes, because I grew up saying Molweni. So, which is Xhosa in the Eastern Cape. But when I arrived here, we were singing, "Good morning to the world out there, morning." It didn't have the cadence that I wanted. So, Sanbonani, it just had such a nice bounce to it. So, it was this idea of, let's use Zulu instead, because language is a beautiful channel for connection.
It really is.
So, it's beyond genre, is what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
And it's also it was not very intentional. I would be lying if I said, we're going to do this so that we can do this and that we can play on 947 and Metro FM. No, I had no clue, Like I said, we weren't creating it for that. We were just expressing ourselves. We were actually just riding off some...
It really does come across that you are truly living your purpose. I mean, if everything flows so easily you must be in perfect alignment with what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I feel very aligned. I feel very present.
Yeah.
So I would argue to say that, our level of awareness or consciousness is our purpose. It's not that deep. Like, I don't think life has a grand meaning. I think life's meaning is for you to pay attention.
Yes.
And to make the most of your time. None of us are going to change the world.
No.
We're going to impact, hopefully. But I only think impact only comes when you switched on.
Yeah.
To, like, I don't go on stage thinking, oh my God, look at me. I'm like, let's get these people to find themselves. Let's get them to smile and dance and be happy. And that's, it's like music for me is therapy. And I think that, like, passing it on in that form is what brings that connection. So just going back to your original question, it's like, it's beyond genre.
Yes, I understand.
I think it's easy. Like, if we wanted to, if it was as easy as, like, let's just speak a bunch of different languages and mix up a few genres and then head to South America because we singing in Spanish, then everybody would be able to do it. It's beyond that. It's got to be rooted. It goes back to purpose, goes back to why.
Yes. So you have an interesting term that I've heard you use before, Afro-geese. Tell me how did this? Yeah, please tell me.
It was actually the theme to our wedding, my wife and I.
Yeah.
It was actually where it came from. Was this idea of, like, African and Portuguese come together. I actually always wanted to do a restaurant called Afro-geese, where we would fuse Portuguese and South African food. But it was just that. It was just this. South Africa and Portugal play a massive role in my upbringing, and it shaped a lot of who I am. So Afro-geese is just the term that kind of encapsulates that. I actually haven't heard it for a while.
Is this what I would kind of expect when I go to Artistry, which is, it's your restaurant in San, correct?
Yeah. I have we don't even actually call it a restaurant. It's called a cultural platform. It's got a restaurant.
Yes.
It's got 100-seater theater. It's got a listening bar. It's got an art gallery. So it's an ecosystem to celebrate the arts, to celebrate artists, to allow artists to showcase their artistry, to allow people to celebrate.
It's a brilliant idea.
Artistry, especially from our ground, and our purpose really is to try and preserve culture, which is stories. And stories, music, visual arts, comedy, spoken word, film that gets showcased there. Those are all art forms that get expressed at Artistry, but it's not Afro-geese. It's Artistry. We celebrate the classics. So we want to make food that's relatable, but delicious.
Okay. I'll definitely have to come and visit. Like this, now I'm interested. Really interested to come.
Every month, a whole program. We host incredible artists. Got comedy every second Sunday with Paul Pops and his team. It's a vibe, man. It's such a cool
sounds place. Like a vibe.
Yeah, it's very cool. Down to earth as well. It's in Sandton, but it's so not Sandton. It's just
I want to ask you, because a lot of the people that would be watching would be youngsters that aspire to be someone like you. What kind of advice would you have for them?
Sure.
I know that might be a little bit of a hard one, and we can most probably chat about that for quite some time.
Yes.
But if there's something that you would like to relay or could relay?
I think the first thing that pops to mind, because there's obviously a million things that, we all would be able to say as points of advice. But the first thing, and I'll respect that first thing that came to my mind, is don't ever try to be me. Don't ever try to be anybody. There is one person that nobody's ever seen on this planet, and that's you. And I think that, like, the more we tap in, it's like, I'm a musician. It's just a random side note, but I don't listen to a lot of music because a lot of music distracts my ear. So I have music in me.
Yes.
And if you are a musician, it means that you've got that gift in you. So it's in there. The more you ingest, or the more you compare, I think the more that goes on top of that seed of yours. So, I mean, obviously, it's a contradicting point, because you should be don't take this as you shouldn't be listening to music. You shouldn't be studying others. Like, I've studied a lot of people. I study music a lot.
Yes.
But I think, to my point, my advice would be, it sounds so cheesy, but do you. Like, invest your time in exploring you.
Yeah.
Sit with yourself. I think quiet is such a gift, and you really see the power of quiet when you start making music, because like a pocket of quietness back into a groove is so powerful.
Yes.
A break from a melody is just got so much impact. So, it would go back to the root, which I would say learn to meditate, because meditation is not that dramatic.
It's not.
Just sit and breathe, man. Like, that's all.
It is life-changing, though.
Yes, and just focus on your breath. These are all things that are attached to this idea of like, pursue you. You are so worthy of your attention. You are the star of the show. That is your life. It's nobody else's life. This morning, I actually read something that said, how can you ever be rushing when it's your life? Yeah, it's so powerful. It's like, you can never rush.
Unless you live in Joburg.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
But yeah, do you? I live by a philosophy which I term one day at a time. I have it on my skin. Every day I'm trying to
live.
Let me
see your tattoo.
One day at a time, because your life is not 0 to 80.
No, it's not.
Nobody's granted time. The biggest mistake that humans make is think that they have time. We don't have time.
True story.
Everybody's got the same amount of time in this room. Everybody that's tuned in, we all have the same amount of time, because we have now. So live in the now, dig into yourself.
I think we can add motivational speakers as well. You're quite
well. It's why speaking from the heart is so easy.
Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
Answering all my questions and just being so easy to talk to.
Thank you. I'll never forget walking down there and picking up my first guitar, which I then auctioned that guitar to raise, I think, about 150 grand with that guitar.
That's amazing.
For Reach for a Dream, which I gave away to that, which we then built a 1.5 million rand project for them. But that was from that guitar that I bought here. So it's very special to be here and to be able to talk and to share. And I'm very grateful for the people that have given us our time to listen.
Thank you, Jay. It was amazing.
Thank you.